What if love wasn't limited to just one person? Imagine being in a happy relationship, but realizing something feels missing. What if you could experience deeper connections without losing the one you love? Welcome to the world of open relationships, where love, trust, and boundaries are put to the ultimate test. In this gripping story, we dive into the reality of ethical non-monogamy, exploring its highs, its heartbreaks, and the raw emotions that come with it. Are you ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about love? Let me know in the comments. Could you ever be in an open relationship? Before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an exciting story like this. Now, let's dive into Beyond Monogamy, a journey into open relationships. Chapter 1. The Bombshell. Emma and Jake had been together for 6 years. Their relationship was built on love, trust, and an undeniable chemistry. But lately, something felt different. The once fiery passion had cooled to a steady simmer, and though neither of them spoke about it, both felt a quiet longing for something more. One evening, Emma hesitated before finally blurting it out. "Jake, have you ever thought about open relationships?" Jake nearly choked on his drink. "You mean, like seeing other people while still being together?" His voice was calm, but his mind was racing. She nodded, her eyes locked onto his. "I've been reading about it. There's a whole philosophy behind ethical non-monogamy. It's not about cheating, it's about expanding what we have, experiencing connections with others while keeping our bond intact." Jake stared at her, torn between intrigue and fear. Was she unhappy? Was he not enough? The questions swirled in his mind, but deep down, he knew Emma wouldn't bring up something this big unless she truly believed in it. Chapter 2. The Rabbit Hole. Instead of dismissing it outright, Jake did what he always did when something confused him. He researched. Together, they read books, listened to podcasts, and even joined a Reddit community where people shared their experiences with ethical non-monogamy. Some stories were inspiring, others were absolute disasters. The deeper they dug, the more they realized how broad the spectrum was. Polyamory, building deep emotional and romantic connections with multiple people. Swinging, primarily focused on recreational sexual experiences with others. Relationship anarchy, a rejection of all societal labels, where relationships were built uniquely for each person involved. Emma was fascinated by polyamory, the idea that love wasn't a finite resource. Jake, however, was more drawn to the idea of casual experiences, rather than developing deep emotional bonds outside their relationship. "So we already have different preferences," Emma said. "How do we make this work?" Chapter 3. The Rules of Engagement. Before anything happened, they knew they had to establish ground rules. Without them, things could get messy, fast. Radical honesty, no secrets, no white lies, full transparency, protection first. Regular testing and strict use of protection. No close circles, no dating coworkers, mutual friends, or exes. Check-ins, weekly sit-downs to talk about how they felt. They also had to set their personal boundaries. Emma didn't want any overnight stays with new partners. Jake needed to be the first to know before Emma went on a date. It was all about trust, and they were determined to make it work. Chapter 4. Jumping into the deep end. Emma was the first to test the waters. She met Alex through a local polyamory group. He was charming, intelligent, and made her feel alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, and when she came home that night, she told Jake everything. Jake listened, trying to suppress the knot in his stomach. He told himself this was what they agreed on, but imagining Emma with another man made his chest tighten. Still, he trusted her, and more than anything, he didn't want to let jealousy win. Then it was Jake's turn. He matched with a woman named Lacey on a dating app. She was adventurous, free-spirited, and completely comfortable with the concept of open relationships. Their first date was electric, filled with teasing glances and playful banter. For the first time, Jake understood what Emma had been talking about. Chapter 5. The Growing Pains. As months passed, the honeymoon phase of their open relationship faded, and the challenges became real. Jealousy hits hard. The first time Jake saw Emma holding hands with Alex at a cafe, his stomach twisted in knots. Time management chaos. Balancing work, their relationship, and new partners became overwhelming. Social fallout. Some friends were supportive. Others treated them like they had a contagious disease. Emma's best friend, Laura, was skeptical. "Are you sure this isn't just an excuse to cheat?" she asked bluntly. "Cheating is lying," Emma explained. "This is about honesty. It's about choice." Meanwhile, Jake's brother was fascinated. "Dude, I always thought monogamy was outdated, respect for actually going for it." Not everyone understood, but that was okay. This was their journey, not anyone else's. Chapter 6: The Unexpected Twists. Just when they thought they had a handle on things, life threw a curveball. Emma's connection with Alex grew deeper than she expected. She started catching feelings, real ones, and that scared her. Jake, on the other hand, realized he preferred the thrill of new experiences rather than long-term emotional attachments. Their different approaches to non-monogamy started creating cracks in their own relationship. "What if we're not on the same page anymore?" Emma whispered one night, her voice laced with fear. Jake sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Then we talk. We figure it out. That's the whole point of this, right?" Chapter 7: The Breaking Point. One night, after an emotionally charged argument, Emma left to clear her head. Jake sat alone in their apartment, staring at the ceiling, wondering if they had made a mistake. Were they evolving or unraveling? The next morning, Emma returned, looking exhausted but determined. "I don't want to lose us," she said softly, "but we need to redefine what this means for us." And so they reworked their rules, reestablished their priorities, and made sure they were still choosing each other. Every single day. Chapter 8: The New Normal. Emma and Jake's relationship wasn't perfect, it never would be, but they had something most couples didn't: unfiltered honesty, constant communication, and the freedom to love in a way that felt right for them. Sometimes that meant seeing other people. Sometimes that meant spending a quiet Friday night together, just like they used to before this all began. One evening, curled up on their balcony, Jake looked over at Emma and smirked. "So, what's next?" Emma grinned. "Whatever we want it to be." And that was the beauty of it. So, after everything, was it worth it? Open relationships aren't for everyone, but for some, they unlock a new way to experience love, trust, and personal growth. What do you think? Could you ever be in an open relationship, or is monogamy the only way for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss more thought-provoking stories like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.